Got punched by a patient recently. I don't know if you guys can notice. Alright, man, so I'm gonna get straight into this one. I'm actually about to go to the gym right now, but I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna make a video about this. Because I just need all the information that I can get, especially from people that are older than me, people that have more life experience than me. I'm somebody that's always looking to seek as much information as possible, especially if it's gonna get me ahead of the game, you know? All right, so last year I had made a video. I had made like a little rant video talking about how I feel like crap, and I basically in that video I was talking about how I felt stuck in life, man. As far as career wise, right? And this is, I guess, gonna be kind of like a part two in a way, but yeah, this is what this video is about. Is really about me, just trying to figure it out, man. Just trying to figure it out. Any information or tips as far as career or anything with life, any advice is appreciated. If you guys could just, leave a comment down below, it would mean a lot to me, man. I'm gonna just come out clean and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right? So, my name is Mark. My name is Mark. I'm 24 years old. I'm 24 years old. I'm about to be 25 this year. And I am somebody that is always looking to push myself. Currently I'm actually working in healthcare as a healthcare assistant. So what I'm doing is just helping the nurses, helping the patients. I'll help them with the personal care. I help them with, feeding, bathing, all that, right? Helping people with dementia, especially. And, I'm located in Canada, and, I'm just in this position in life to where I know I'm not going to be in this position. I know I don't want to stay in this spot, especially because I'm in my 20s, I'm coming up on my mid 20s, and I just know that I have to push myself, right? I am somebody that believes in pushing yourself to become your best self, to become your greatest self. As I get older, excuse me, as I get older, I start to look at life almost like a game, and in this game, you have to play your cards right. I believe in that saying. There's a good saying that I heard, and it goes by, make your make your next move your best move, because it might be the only move that you get. And I live by that, bro. Especially with my parents getting older, man, I want to do better for not only myself, but especially for my parents, man. I love my parents so much. My mom is a nurse, so that's pretty much how I got into working in healthcare, is really because of my mom. And my sister is studying to become a nurse. So I know off the bat, like, I have two people, right? I know two people, especially family members, that are already in that pathway for healthcare. And with my dad, my dad is an electrician, so that's in the trade side, right? And then, I know two other people off the top of my head that are also in trades. They got into trades recently, like in the past maybe like 2-3 years. They went to do their apprenticeship, went to school for that, and they already are making like maybe like high six figures or something like that, man. Just being in the union. I don't really know too much about trades, to be honest. Like, I don't really know what the I guess the work culture is like. I'm more so familiar with healthcare, because I'm already in healthcare. And yeah, bro. So that's where I'm at in life. I'm just feeling not really stuck or lost compared to where I was when I was 23, but I just want to make my next move my best move. You know what I mean? Just like how I mentioned, and like I said, I know that I don't want to be in the same position in life, and I also know that, man, I'm young. A lot of people, guys, working in the hospital, working in healthcare, in this type of field, a lot of people are older than me, man. And so many people have told me, Mark, make sure you go back to school. Mark, make sure you go back to school. Especially because the people that I work with are Filipino. So they're, always giving me advice. They look at me like when I work, man, people either look at me like I'm their son or I'm their nephew, their brother, younger brother. So, people look out for me, and I get a lot of advice. Get a lot of people telling me, Mark, make sure you go back to school. And, especially my parents, including my parents especially. And, yeah, man, I just want to know, like, if anybody out there has switched from healthcare to trades or trades to healthcare, what has that been like? What has your experience been like? Because right now I'm in healthcare, and you know what? For a while, even like a year ago, I was telling myself like, man, I can't really see myself being a nurse, just because, man, working in healthcare can burn you out. Like, I ain't gonna lie, recently I got punched by a patient, like that type of stuff happens all the time, man. And I understand that you don't even have to work in the hospital. You don't have to work bedside nursing. Like, there's a lot of opportunity if you're a nurse. But in a way, I've gotten used to it too. Working with people is a challenge, but for me, I do enjoy the challenge. Sometimes I'll burn out, but I'll take a day or two off, maybe 3 days off, 4 days off, and then I'm good. I'm good to get back to it. I love working with the people, man. Like, I've met a lot of great coworkers over the past like 2-3 years that I've been working as a healthcare assistant, whether it be nurses or other healthcare assistants. A lot of great people, man. And like I said, being young, bro, it definitely makes you stand out because, like, I'm not trying to boast myself or speak highly of myself, but when you walk into the room and you're young, like, people can sense you're full of life, man. And a lot of people, say, hey, Mark, how's it going? Oh, Mark, can you help me with this? Like, it's just cool to be the young guy there, And yeah, man, a lot of people give me advice. So I met a lot of great people in working in healthcare, especially, like other patients too, like, even though sometimes it can be, a little crazy, but it's very rewarding when a patient tells you, oh, thank you so much, or, just knowing that you can make some sort of a positive impact on your life, right? Or on their life. And yeah, man, that's where I'm at. I guess, like, the cons of working in healthcare, sometimes it's just unpredictable, bro. A patient falls and it's like, what can you do? Maybe the nurse gets pissed off at you, or you know, you hear about something from the management. Like, I'm just being honest, bro. This is the first time where I'm really like talking about work on my YouTube channel. I don't really like to talk about work on my YouTube channel because um you know, my parents have told me to, like, just keep work and your life separate, right? And I believe in that because, you know, you don't want to work your 8 hours and then after work it's like you're thinking about work again. It's like, you know, it's good to just chill, leave work at work, keep it professional, right? um so yeah, man. And you know, working in healthcare, especially here in Canada, it's something that is very sought after. It's very highly in demand. You know, people, the government is always looking for nurses. Like, we have something called the licensed practical nursing program, and I'm actually, before, like I said, I wasn't really thinking about taking that. Excuse me. But over time, as I get older, you know, I want to challenge myself, right? Like I said, and I'm like, you know what, man, it would be cool to take that program because something about that program is in Canada, where I'm at, if you take the HCA program, the healthcare assistant program, you can get like a pathway. It's like the government funds it for you for the nursing program. So I'm thinking about taking that. And that's what actually happened with me. That's how I got into healthcare assistant because at the time I was actually in automotive. That was a trade that I was taking at the time, but then I'm like, man, you know what? I found that I actually find some more, I guess, not really fulfillment. I guess fulfillment in a way, but I found like a better fit was working with people myself, and that was because before that I had worked in customer service. Had worked many jobs working, but mainly working as a cashier. Especially, I had a lot of experience working as a cashier, so that's how I pretty much got into healthcare. You know, just working with people like that directly, right? So I'm really used to working with people, but you know, I'm considering trades and specifically plumbing just because plumbing is you know, I remember I had actually, well, for one, I'm already dealing with crap. I'm already dealing with, you know, human feces, and like, I'm used to dirty work at this point. I'm used to odors and stuff like that. So that's why I thought of plumbing. And not only that, I remember those times that I'd be working at the hospital, I would see plumbers um, working at the hospital, right? I even met a lady plumber, and I remember at the time I had kind of asked her about like her work. I was just kind of like, you know, just kind of observing her and asking her questions as she's doing her work. She was like working under the sink, you know. I think she had to change a part at the time. So, you know, I got curious and I asked questions. And that's what kind of like sparked my interest with it going back to the trade again. Um, Mind you, at the time too, like when I was 20 years old, man, like my mind is still fresh out of high school, bro. So I had that high school thinking. I wasn't really thinking career wise, but now, you know, I'm coming up on 25. 5 years later, I get a better understanding of the world and life, right? So that's why I'm reconsidering it again. And yeah, bro, I'm the type, like, I believe in doing the jobs, or doing a work that is something that won't ever go out of demand. Um, you know, like, I'm not trying to knock anybody that's working at like a retail or fast food, but I mean, if you're like in your 20s, you know, you should definitely be progressing towards something, right? No pain, no progression. And especially with my mom being a nurse, she's always told me, like, Mark, make sure always get, like, parent, if you guys are Asian, I'm Filipino, so you guys know what that's like, you know, Asian parents always looking to push you, right? So yeah, man. I think for this video, people will probably tell me to go for nursing, and that's okay. I'm making this video especially because I had actually posted this on Reddit, like the same question, like nursing or trades, and I kind of given like a rough little background about myself. I'm 24 years old, basically the things that I'm telling you guys. And a lot of people said nursing, which was not really surprising, because there's a lot of people that commented too, and they mentioned that trades can be hard on the body, working in different temperatures, different elements, working outside of the city, so being away from family. And then, I also thought about plumbing too, because I'm like, hey man, that's cool. Like you could possibly start your own business. Maybe work for yourself, be self-employed. I think that's definitely something that I would love to be in a position in at life too, is be self-employed. Yeah, man. It's just decisions, man. Options. And one thing about where I'm at in life too is I don't want to make a decision and it's like I'm gonna end up regretting that decision, or I'm gonna end up stopping. Because I remember when I stopped automotive, that was a big change for me. And I remember from that point forward, like my parents have always told me, Mark, if you're gonna do something, make sure you don't stop it. Make sure you just complete it. And I don't want to say that thought has held me back, or that experience has held me back from taking a risk or trying something new. But it's like a nugget of wisdom that I carry within myself. When it comes to decision making, I always consider the long term now, and I always consider different aspects, like me getting older. What's the working conditions gonna be like? What's it like gonna be if I retire? Because the thing is, I'll say this, man. I'm not knocking on nursing. I think nursing would be great, because I know nurses that work casual. So here's the thing, guys. Working in healthcare, you have working casually, and then you have working, I don't know how it is in the States or other regions, but you also can work under a line. You can work in a set position, right? So I know nurses that work casual, which means they pretty much work on the call, bro. Even right now, I'm working casual at another place, and I get text messages all the time for shifts, like, and if I want to, I can just apply for the shifts. I can bid for the shifts, right? And that's the same thing with nurses too. And nurses especially, they're very in demand. So I know nurses that are working casually, and then they can still work as if it's like full time, right? Because they're working casual, and since they're so in demand. But then, since they're working casual, they don't have to file for a vacation, which is pretty cool. You don't have to file for a vacation. You don't have to like let your employer know. So that's like a positive part, is working casually, but also it's like you're being pretty much your own boss in a way, right? And then, I say that because I've worked casual at one point. Actually, I was working casual last year. The only con about that is that your schedule can be kind of all over the place. So let's say if you're working night shift, then you might not be guaranteed another night shift, right? So, but the positive about that is that you don't have to call your employer, or you don't have to file for a vacation. You can pretty much go wherever you like, anytime you like, and that's that was actually, you guys remember, for my homies out there, for my supporters, That was how I was able to be in Thailand for 2 months. It was because I was working casual at the time, and I didn't have to like be under the 2 week or 4 week or whatever weeks, right? I could pretty much just be on vacation for however long I want. Now here's the other thing too. I'm just pretty much speaking at this point, but another thing too was excuse me. Speaking on a trade, going back to trades, it would be nice. I was just thinking it would be nice to work on a skill set. It would be nice to work in a different environment. Like, some people have mentioned that the cons of working in trades is being in freezing temperatures or being in hot environment. But for me, I don't really mind that because working inside, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, with screaming patients. Sometimes it can be fast paced. But also you get, I remember one of the people commented on Reddit. They were like, oh, but you get unlimited apple juice, which is true, get a lot of snacks in there, whatever, right? But anyways, one of the other pros or one of the other things to consider with trades is you're working outside and you can work in different places too, like outside of your city. Like I said, that can be a con. Working out of town, something to consider. I remember when I had actually, I was returning back to Canada from Thailand for my last trip. I had actually met somebody who was a pipe fitter, and yeah, man, shout out to Justin. He said he had been doing that ever since he was like 18 years old, right, fresh out of high school, and now he's working. He's from another part in Canada. I think he's from Alberta or Edmonton, something like that, and he's actually working in can't remember. I think it's somewhere up north of British Columbia, but he's doing well for himself, and he's making a little bit more than if he would making in Alberta. So I guess you could look at that as a pro or a con. For me, I think working out of town would be cool. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, right now I'm 25, so I don't really plan on having like kids or settling down. I'm very just pretty much focused on career and just improving that aspect of my life. It could change, but that's just something to consider. And something to consider too is, when I'm 50, 60 years old, right? Speaking on that, I know I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just speaking right now, but I'm also considering 25 years from now, right? I'm 25 right now. Let's double that and add another 25 years. So, my body is going to change. Unfortunately, I'm not going to always be maybe top tier shape or healthy all the time. Life happens. So I'm also considering that. I've heard this a lot, and I heard this a lot on Reddit too. The most common thing with trades is that the physical wear that it does on your body. And while it can be the same for nursing, but I feel like it's a little more, it's a little more wear and tear in trades, I would imagine. Just because you're working outside, you're carrying stuff, doing that physical labor. I mean, even for me right now, I'm, pushing and pulling patients that's like 100, 300 pounds, doing a lot of bending, a lot of that movement. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how it is in trades totally, but I feel like it's a little more in the trades, and it's more predominantly physical work in the trades. I feel like nursing is more mental, so that's kind of like the difference. Consider going back to 50-year-old me, 60-year-old me. I know for nursing, like you get like great benefits, pension, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's the same with trades too. But the thing is with nursing, here's the thing about nursing, guys. A lot of nurses, they might be at that retiring age, but they will still work. They will still pick up shifts, because maybe they retire and they feel like, hey, I don't really have much to do, so they'll pick up shifts and they'll still work at like 60 years old, man, 70 years old, whatever age. I'm at a lot of nurses like that too, that are I guess in that age bracket, and they're still working. So just a lot of things to consider, man. A lot of things to consider, a lot of opportunity, like I said, but I just want to make sure I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing. Now that I'm speaking about it, don't be surprised if I do end up taking nursing over trades, just because I have, I guess, I'm just a little more familiar with that. Something the other people on Reddit said, somebody on Reddit mentioned that they're doing plumbing, but they're working in the hospital. That's something that my mom suggested too. And shout out to my mom, because she's always helping me with suggestions. But another thing my mom suggested was that I don't have to be in nursing. I could work as like a radiology technician. I could do something else in nursing, which is one of the advantages of working in healthcare, is like you don't have to be a nurse. You can do other positions in healthcare. Like I met a lot of people, like I said, doing CT scan, physiotherapist, a rehab assistant, plumber, even, right? A lot of different factors that go into healthcare, a lot of different positions. So that's something to consider. But I also had somebody that mentioned that if he was 25 again, he would still do nursing, but he would do the CRNA, which is like a registered nurse anesthesia, something like that. Yeah, basically nursing. What's that called? Anesthesia, something like that. Nurse anesthesia. But those, I search up how much those guys make, and they make a good ton of money, man. So, speaking of money, so here's the thing too, right? I've heard this term a lot. I've heard this saying a lot too. Oh, don't just get into it for the money, which is true. And I definitely stand by that. I believe in that. But at the same time, like, let's be real, we need money. So money is something that you got to consider. I've heard, excuse me. I've heard this from some people on Reddit, and I've heard this from nurses too. They say that, Mark, if you're gonna do nursing, don't just think about the money. Make sure your heart is in it. Nursing is something that takes heart, man. And when I'm working right by these nurses, I can see how much of a toll it can take on their mental too. It can definitely get stressful. It can definitely, working, like, just imagine working with one patient, and then this family member is maybe complaining, maybe giving you all this information, but you multiply that with like 6 other patients, 7 other patients. So that's I guess that can be a con, like, can be mentally draining. With trades, like I said, plumbing, I don't really know what could be stressful with plumbing. Maybe I'm just more so thinking about physical stress on the body. But I would imagine maybe if some part leaks or some pipes leak or some shit like that happens, every job has its stress factors, but it's really about, I guess somebody mentioned this, it's about what you can tolerate. So yeah, man, I know I spoke a lot. I still gotta hit the gym, but any advice is appreciated, bro. If you made it through this whole video, these 30 minutes went by fast, man. And like I said, I'm 25. I'm about to be 25 this year. But I just want to make the right move, man. I just want any advice I can take. One thing about me, like I mentioned, I have the work ethic, I have the determination. I just need to figure out what it is, you know. And I know it's one of those things where nobody can figure it out except me. But I also, like I said, any information from somebody who's experienced life is just like, I'm gonna take that, bro. I'm not somebody that believes in, you know, I'm like a Mr. Know-it-all, you know. And yeah, bro. I remember I had made a vision board. I actually updated that vision board, and it's like I know what I want, but it's just like this gap, you know. Especially being in your 20s, you go through so many changes as a person. I know even 1 year from now, I'm not going to be the same person. 2 years from now, I'm going to be a completely different person. And speaking of changes, I know even nurses who have changed careers, or maybe, you know, they're doing something else on the side. Like I know somebody who is a nurse, but they're also doing real estate. I know somebody who's a nurse, but they switch over to law enforcement. So yeah, man. Another thing I want to mention too. Another thing I want to mention is growing up, like I never really worked with my hands, just relating to plumbing, but I'm always willing to work and I'm always willing to learn too. So, you know, one of my other options was HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. But I remember I had spoke to an advisor from one of the schools here, and they said that there's not much jobs for HVAC, at least maybe in this location in Canada, maybe. But they recommended plumbing, which I was okay with that because that was my first option. They recommended plumbing, and they said that because, you know, every house has a toilet, right? I think they mentioned that HVAC is more so like places with a grocery store, or, you know, specific places, specific areas. I'm sure there's lots of work too, but where I'm at, located in Canada, you know, every house is gonna have a toilet. Every hospital is gonna have a toilet. Every place is gonna have a bathroom, or you know, a sink, right? Water is always needed. So yeah, man. 20s is very interesting because people tell you to try things, but then also, like, one of the things I'm mindful of is what type of, or how much time I'm putting into something, you know, because I'm always thinking about the long term too. You know, I don't want to just jump from one place to another without considering the long term. And those people that were in my position, man, maybe if you were in your 20s and you had this sort of similar situation, where are you at now in life? Like, how did you figure that out, what you want to do? Is there something else that do you ever feel like you want to switch careers in your 30s? I'm sure that's common. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, like, it's just a lot to consider with time, your money, especially energy. You know, I'm only getting older. I have a lot of energy. I still feel like a teenager. I'm not gonna lie. I still feel like I'm 19, with just experiences under my belt. But yeah, that's just things to consider. So just to recap, I'm gonna repeat myself, but with nursing, I'm already in healthcare, already familiar with patients, people, the work culture, the place, the environment. Mom is a nurse, sisters is gonna be a nurse. But with trades, it would be cool to, do something different, get outside of my comfort zone, work in a different environments, challenge myself. I like lifting stuff too. I like getting active. Um, of course, I know my body's gonna change, but it would be nice to challenge myself, have a skill set, that I can offer to the marketplace. Have a personal service that I can go maybe like even door to door if people need it. Yeah, TLDR. But also, I'm still considering that practical nursing program. I feel like I would almost be a fool to not take that. Even though before I said that, like I don't really know about nursing, but if the opportunity is there, I'll take it. But if I don't take it, then I know I would most likely be in trades, be in plumbing. But I've been thinking about doing both, man. Yeah, just thankful for any advice. I talk to my parents about this all the time, and the main thing they tell me is, Mark, you got to make that decision because it's your life. But my parents have suggested doing both. Like what I mentioned. Like my mom has even mentioned about opening up a personal nursing clinic, nursing business. So that's a business route you can do with nursing. Yeah, I believe in running my own business, but if if I'm making more with a career or with a work, I don't mind that either, man. Yeah, shout out to you if you made it through this whole thing. I was very frustrated last year with myself, but I told myself, you know what? I just gotta sit down, and I just need to kind of almost let the ride flow. Life is a journey with lots of changes. The world is always changing, and I said, Mark, you can't be completely frustrated in yourself, especially if that is not gonna help you go to where you want to go. I was frustrated because I was being a little bit impatient with myself last year, especially when I made that video. But another thing too is when social media can play a part when you see people going on vacation, when you see people doing this, when you know people personally too that are doing this, and maybe they're advancing, but you feel like you're behind. But I've learned that, you know what, you are where you are because of your decision making, and I take full accountability for that. And I told myself, hey, I'm right where I need to be. As long as I have a career, I have a job right now that is gets me 40 hours, gets me overtime, then just continue to work hard at it. Just continue to be patient. I don't believe in instant gratification. I believe in setting a solid foundation, especially in your 20s, because if you have that solid foundation, then when when push comes to shove, then your foundation is still there, is still set, right? Like if another pandemic happens, another recession happens, or whatever, like at least, hey, you can look at your foundation and say that you set something in stone, right? Yeah, bro, that's my thoughts, man. I don't think I have anything else to say. Also, I guess if there's somebody else in their 20s that's in this similar position, man, just keep pushing, man. If you have a job, just continue to work hard at your job, bro. And don't settle too. I don't believe in settling for less. I don't believe in just settling with. I don't think you should ever sell yourself short. I think you should always go for the best. Do your best. That's something my parents always push onto me too. So always remember it's no pain, no progression. I should have been at the gym an hour, 2 hours ago, but I was journaling right now. I was looking through Reddit, had some thoughts on my mind, and I said, you know what? What better way to just seek information than to ask people all around the world, right? And to do that through my YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the advice. I want to thank everybody. This is this is a 20-year-old man, I guess I'm not really having that quarter life crisis anymore, but I'm definitely going through that change, within myself. So always remember, it's no pain, no progression. Get your reps in. I'm checking out, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Something I want to mention too, just because it came up on my mind. I remember, I think this was like last year or when I finished the healthcare program. I told myself like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna pursue nursing. But then I stopped because once again, it just came back to short-term thinking, and at the same time, I was like still considering other paths to a different career. But I remember I was in a little, not little program, but I was pretty much studying like one of the maths that I had to do. I think, was it a math or it was something, one of the subjects, but then I stopped because I'm like, man, you know what? I don't really see myself as being a nurse. I think it would be nice to do something outside of healthcare. But like I mentioned, now I'm at a different spot in life, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to take me to that next level. And also, in regards to plumbing, I've actually been watching a lot of plumbing videos, and I think they're very interesting. So I'm not, just gonna go into it like blindsided or without like any, I guess, exposure. I've been watching plumbing videos just to get an idea. Been even seeking like a lot of information, but yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. Also, I actually just got a text message from my dad. He actually recommended nursing, and he's an electrician, so it might have to be nursing, man. But like I said, only time will tell, and I'm still figuring it out, so we will see.